なんとなく生きてんじゃないですか。迷ってんじゃないですか。生き生きしたい。簡単ですよ。過去のことを思っちゃダメだよ。なんであんなことしたんだろうって怒りに変わってくるから。未来のことも思っちゃダメ。大丈夫かな。不安になってるでしょ。ならば一生懸命一つのところに命をかける。そうだ、今ここを生きていけばみんな生き生きするぞ。諦めんなよ。諦めんなお前。どうしてそこでやめるんだ。そこでもう少し頑張ってみろよ。ダメ諦めたら周りのこと思うよ。応援してる人たちのこと思ってみろって。あともうちょっとのところなんだから。俺だってこのマイナス10度のところしじみが取れるって頑張ってんだよ。絶対やってみろ。必ず目標達成できる。だからこそネバギブアップ。
Hey guys, how you doing? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I wanted to just quickly put out these predictions that I have. You know, nobody's perfect in the realm of predictions, but I think I'm doing a little bit better than a coin toss at this point. Called the ETH bottom. I called for Dragon X to have 70% of the staking pool. I made some good calls. Calling for an extended cycle was wrong, but it happens to the best of us. I'm going to get into in this just 8 different predictions that I think may come true for 26, and it's going to be for ETH, it's going to be for Bitcoin, a few other things, as well as for Titanx, where I see Titanx going in the next 12 months. So yeah, it's going to be kind of a quick presentation, and then if there's anyone watching, if not, this will just go right to YouTube. But yeah, we can also have an open discussion. So cool, guys. I'm just going to jump right into it. Let me just quickly check X to see if this is posted in live. Awesome, it is. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're enjoying the Christmas holiday. It's been quite slow, but that can be a good thing. So, okay. The first thing I wanted to mention is, ETH dominance. ETH dominance is doing quite well. Never really collapsed back to the dominance lows. And I think the reason for this is that Ethereum DATs are about 10 times smaller than Bitcoin DATs. Digital asset treasuries is what I mean by DATs. And so my thesis here is basically that these DATs have a mandate to come in and buy Ethereum and build Ethereum treasuries, and that mandate will push Ethereum up relative to Bitcoin, because the Bitcoin DAT narrative is basically played out. And so you're kind of done with the effectively the buying there. And I think if you look at the charts, you can see that Bitcoin DATs have started to sell off some Bitcoin, whereas Ethereum DATs continue to accumulate Ethereum. So the result of that is basically that we could be bottoming out for Bitcoin dominance, at least for right now. So I think we're going to see Ethereum dominance go higher, which might be different than a typical bear market where you have Bitcoin dominance surge. And in fact, we've seen a couple of other tokens that have outperformed Bitcoin and are probably going to outperform Bitcoin in the bear market, like BNB and Ethereum. And so it's something that's a little bit different this cycle and does kind of represent, just strong-handed holders and serious institutional tokens that go beyond Bitcoin. So that's my kind of first prediction, is effectively that we're going to see Ethereum dominance continue to do well. And that may mean like that the bottom for altcoins is not as far away as October, right? Which is the typical bear market kind of length. Things might start to go up higher than that if Ethereum continues to catch a tailwind. So that's kind of the first prediction I have. The second one is the unfortunate reality that we're in, like that now a lot of people have come around to, including myself, which is that basically the 50-week it's resistance now. And actually this should say as resistance, not support. One sec. This should say as resistance. There we go. Share screen. So yeah, basically, 50-week will be resistance, not support. So basically, there's going to be relief rallies. I can go to the next slide here. You're going to see that 50-week get tested probably multiple times. And typically going into Q1, that's a good quarter for crypto. So you're going to see probably that 50-week get tested. Some people will probably call the start of the next bull market, or that was like a false bear market, but then there's a high probability we're going to go lower than that, right? So that's kind of what I see as the second prediction, basically, is that we're going to touch that 50-week, but we're not going to break it. And eventually we'll have to go down and hit that 200-week, because that's what's happened in every bull market prior. So if you're looking at prior data, then we have quite a bit further down to go. Could be further along in the cycle. We eventually get a washout. But that 200-week always gets hit after the 50-week is broken, before the 50-week is, support again, effectively. The third prediction I have is that there'll be no new Bitcoin all-time high in late 26, early 27. And that kind of goes into what I just said earlier, where it doesn't seem like Bitcoin's really ready to go right now. Effectively, like you don't have a lot of buyers stepping in. You have a lot of whales selling. I kind of, looking at the 200-week here, this is kind of an extension of what I said last, is basically what you have here in this chart is it's a fractal of the 2021 bear market, essentially, at least of the down part of the bear market, not the consolidation and beginning of the upward movement. And you could see a likely path, something like this, where we continue to go down well into 26, and then later in 26, we push down below that 200-week before finally going higher and breaking above the 50 weeks. So the idea basically being that, this structure has yet to play out completely. And if it's like any of the last cycles, there's more down to come. And so 26, we will very likely not see an all-time high in Bitcoin, at least not until the end. Because, based on prior structure, like you would expect it to consolidate considerably and probably go down further. So that's just kind of one way I was looking at it. I think that we're going to see an ETH all-time high tested in Q1. So Ethereum will probably, or it could potentially outperform Bitcoin because of that narrative that I mentioned. And part of that narrative, it may catch wind, and we may see a Q1 being a good quarter. If you look at prior quarters for Ethereum, Q1 is the best performing quarter for Ethereum, and always has been, with 183%. And so, in addition to that, usually after a couple of green quarters, after a red quarter, we get a couple of green quarters. So 26, 27 could be price going up, based on history, right? It doesn't necessarily mean it will happen, but I think it's fair to predict that you might see, Q1 basically be a good Q1 26, and that would put us with an average of 180%. Now, obviously, you're not going to get 2016, 2017 gains. So maybe it's, more in the order of 30% or 50%. But if you look at where Ethereum is basically 70% off all-time high. So if you are, if you're looking at that, then it's possible that we would, test all-time high in Q1. So I hope that kind of makes sense to you guys. Actually, let me open up the comments if anyone has comments. Gracie says, hello, how are you? Searchy says, working good here. Sounds good. Good to have you guys. It's Christmas Eve. I'm not really expecting a huge number of people to watch this, but you guys can catch the replay. Kind of going into the AI stuff that I've been talking about in a couple of different past streams. Like, I think prediction number 5 is, it's basically that there's going to be a massive elimination of knowledge work, and it's going to be accelerating. I've been playing around with Google AI Studio and Gemini AI Studio, and the tech is getting so good now. You don't really even need a full-time software engineer on your team anymore, especially if you're in MVP stage. And a lot of engineers are just becoming just so greatly enhanced by AI that the demand for low-level and mid-level engineers is actually dropping. So if you look at this chart, you can see, and I believe it was 21 that ChatGPT came out. Just double check that. But this is maybe it was 22. in any event, there's an obvious divergence, right, where the demand for elite engineers is still good, mid and late engineers. I think part of this that's happening here is basically like established companies probably have older engineers, and they're also slower to adopt AI. So I don't know if necessarily, senior career level engineers are necessarily better, and that's why they're keeping them, as opposed to they tend to work in institutions that are slower to move and slower to adopt AI. And so what you're seeing here is most likely a combination of less demand for and willingness to train new hires because of AI and the efficiency gains, and the slow adoption of enterprises to basically adopt AI, which means that older engineers their jobs have been spared for now. But I think that the trend is clear. Like engineering demand is probably going to peak out in the next year or two, and that means that people are going to basically need to do other things, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But the point here is that you're most likely going to be driven into some kind of entrepreneurship at some point in the near future because of the way the economy is going with AI. So that's just a point I wanted to make. And software engineers are one of the most automated groups. So having an entrepreneurial mindset and building on your own and working with other groups of people that are building, like inside my mastermind, is a way for you to reduce risk and build up a side income. And that's exactly what we're doing inside. Let's go to TitanX real quick with some of my predictions for TitanX, and then we can go back a little bit to this AI and future work stuff. So I suspect that where we are with TitanX right now, we're going to continue to have an all-time low, hit all-time lows into the late summer or fall of 26. I kind of charted this path out. So, since the last payout, I believe that's the last payout. Actually, no, that's the entire prior year. We basically we went down 93%. It's actually amazing that we still have users who are participating at this point, given that we were already significantly down from the year prior in 24 after the blow off top in summer of 24. And since then, it's been going down. So for over a year, we've been going down. And just in 25, we've gone down 93%. I've seen a lot of big wallets capitulate, and which is unfortunate that those people took a loss. But we can at least be glad that that sell pressure is no longer there. That being said, with the market being stagnant, I suspect that we'll continue to head lower, and the trend is your friend here. So we're probably going to go considerably lower. Could be 50% lower in the next, effectively 120 days. So that smaller blue box there is like just a very light prediction around what might happen. So we're probably going to grind lower, and then around the 888 payout, we're going to probably have a spike, and then we'll probably continue lower from there, would be my guess. As Ethereum exits, people will take new positions in TitanX, most likely. But there will be Ethereum also exiting the system. At that point, DragonX will take over the staking pool, basically. And so that hole will be plugged, but whether mining starts again or not is to be determined. But I don't think that mining, burst of basically staking rewards is going to change the trajectory of TitanX. It hasn't in the past. So yeah, basically that's a price spike and then a sharp sell-off into the 888, post 888 rather. And that's kind of the, you're going to get that sell-off, and then you're going to get people dumping, and people will continue to dump into the rest of the year. Basically, they'll capitulate completely out of TitanX, and then it will be finished effectively. In terms of the selling, I would say at that point, conditions will probably turn. This is my last kind of prediction. I just flew through those because there aren't any comments or anything to address. But it was what I was mentioning before, and I probably should have put that slide at the end. But I think that this year is going to be the year where a lot of people are automated away, or where they see a cap on their career growth because of AI, just the way things are progressing. For me, I'm building with AI to the degree that I don't even do development, and I'm a software engineer. Like, I have the capacity to do development, but I don't even bother because the AI tools are so good. In my kind of little operation that I run, me and my designer can basically do all the development work between the two of us because the tools have gotten so good. In Framer, there's AI development for websites, but there's also manual drag and drop tech, and you can basically just build a fully functional website with most of the features that you need, including like a full web app without any software development. This is stuff that would have taken weeks prior, like when I was doing my career in software engineering, and that's basically been entirely eliminated. And that's like happened in the last 2 years. So I suspect that the models will get to a degree, like a point where, a lot of startups aren't even hiring engineers, or they're just contracting occasionally with an engineer, or they're even sharing engineering talent, and that's going to be enough for them. So, and as well, within enterprises, you're going to see a lot more automation and a lot more removal of jobs. Right. This is just an example of basically, the different kind of categories of groups that will be automated. Offices, legal, engineering, physical sciences, social sciences. I don't know if you'd really necessarily ever needed those, but it's good that they're automated away. But business and finance as well. So in general, like there's going to be massive automation to the point where if you're in admin, if you're in legal, if you're in software or engineering, if you're in any kind of research, like you're going to see either a significant cap on your upside, or you're just going to find that you're made redundant in the next year. It's entirely possible. And within the AI work that I'm doing, we think a lot about basically reducing engineer headcount. So we think about, okay, how many fully loaded engineers? What is the fully loaded engineering cost, and how can we eliminate that for a company? And that's the cost savings, right? That justifies our solutions. Because as you guys know, I have an AI product. And so that is something to consider if you are in one of these careers. Like there are companies like mine that are basically going out and trying to automate work at a very rapid rate. And there's a huge transformation happening in enterprise. And the biggest institutions, it hasn't hit them yet, right? But it will. And if you're at one of those companies, you need to think in a more nimble fashion, because it's a long way until they're giving out a UBI to people who don't have jobs. There's going to need to be some significant policy changes, but that's going to happen not in the next 5 years, I would say. So effectively, you're going to have to fend for yourself. And that's kind of why I have the mastermind, right? Is like, inside, we are basically building stores and tech that will make people money while they sleep, so that they don't need to worry if they do become, made redundant through AI. What you could think of it as is like, one part of it is like a little incubator where we incubate a small business for you. We help you grow it. There's a revenue share, and you make money. And that's a way for you to basically make money while you sleep and protect yourself against career disruption or a medical bill, or just wanted to take a break or a vacation. We're trying to give you the option for that. And inside we have a whole roadmap. We have Amazon FBA stores, we have Etsy, we have AI itself that you can make money with, as well as crypto passive income, obviously, because we're always in crypto. And so if you are interested in that, like, just message me. I think you guys all know my details by now, but the goal is really to get you guys to a place where you're more secure in 2026, rather than just being in a state of uncertainty and insecurity, which is where you're going to be headed if you're just sitting on crypto and waiting, because it's going to be largely, I think, probably an uneventful year for crypto in general. And so I'd rather be basically building businesses with you guys. I'm talking now to the next income source. So we have Etsy, Amazon, crypto, AI, and social media marketing tools inside, where you can make very, very easy passive income. And I'm going to be adding TikTok Shop. So I'm talking now to some guys that are experts in TikTok Shop, and we're going to be adding that. So you can have Etsy Shop, and you can have someone run a TikTok Shop for you. The goal being just to like diversify a little bit outside, and the pipeline for Etsy is we don't have an unlimited ability to service people, right? Which is why if you're interested, you should join, because at some point our Etsy pipeline will be full, probably in the next, by February, end of February or March. There might not be any room left to get an Etsy shop. And so we're going to open up TikTok Shop most likely. so that people can continue to make passive income. And obviously FBA is there. So yeah, it's just to let you guys know, this is why I have this group, basically. Yeah, and another thing is, like, I don't like to see people waiting. Something that I've just that's become disconcerting for me is just looking at crypto and looking at what is the value in crypto, what is the economic value in crypto, and like why do we monetize crypto, And I used to think, like, okay, well, we're monetizing crypto because it's technology that helps us, escape from fiat, escape from the problems of fiat, the vicissitudes of fiat, and to move into a system that is better for individuals. But and that's why there's a monetization to Bitcoin. That's why the price of Bitcoin goes up the way it does, right? Because people are fleeing fiat. And that's definitely true with Bitcoin and maybe a few other coins. But, most of why crypto is monetized, when I say monetized, I mean why people ascribe monetary value to crypto, is unfortunately because of utility outside of just replacing fiat or even store of value. It's really replacing other sources of cheap dopamine, basically. It's replacing gambling, effectively. It's a form of gambling. So effectively what you're doing is it's another feed. It's another dopamine drip for most of you, or for many of you, especially those of you that are waiting to ride the highs of 2021. I think for those people specifically, that was a very euphoric time. People want to relive the euphoria. It's very likely to not happen again. I think that certain alts will do fine, but other alts won't. And you're hampering your own development by waiting for this event to occur, right? This 2021 event to occur again. And I would much rather see you, and rather than hampering yourself, to take action. And more like, it's really more of a shift of mindset than even taking action, right? Because inside my group, we actually build these passive income sources for you. All you need to do in some cases is do some light, sharing of links, or like, just helping with paperwork to set the business up in your name. Right. So it's not like I'm saying you need to take massive unrestrained action and like quit your job. But I am saying you need to shift your mentality from one where you're just sitting and waiting on crypto prices and it's a dopamine drip for you, like it's a social media drip for you, or it's basically another feed or another addictive thing. And you need to get into more of the, like, how can I build passive income streams? How can I build digital real estate and other things that will make me money, right? Because I want to get you guys off the gambling train and off the train of waiting around for specific founders or projects, and onto the train of action, onto the train of I'm making consistent daily progress instead of I'm waiting for a big parabolic move to reclaim all of my losses, right, over the past 5 years. So the other thing is, like, the passive income, it can be a path for you, right, if you're busy, or it can be a bridge. And what I mean by that is, if you don't want to go and you don't want to go all in on the different passive income options we have, you can still use it as a way to move to your next step in your next phase, right? If you open up some e-com shops and they're making you 3, 4, 5K a month, what does that offer you? Like, that brings a lot into your life in terms of optionality, right? So maybe you want to quit your job and you want to start a business properly, right? Well, my team is going to manage the passive income for you. So then all you need to worry about is, okay, what do I need to do for my main business, right? And inside this business network that I have, you can actually accelerate that. So the idea is, like, you need to think about your next phase of where you want to be, and then you can use my group as a way to accelerate that, both by providing a bridge and by using it as a network to launch your new thing, right? Because some of you are in jobs you hate, some of you are in jobs where you would really love to get out of it, and you would happily take a pay cut for a few months and earn some passive income and live off the passive income while you made the transition. I know a lot of you are like that. And so that's kind of my TED talk. And we can quickly go through, because some of you probably just joined now. Quickly go through the predictions again. So prediction 1 is rising ETH dominance. I think that digital asset treasuries are going to basically buoy the price of ETH against Bitcoin, and so we're going to see Ethereum dominance continue to be strong, basically. I think the 50-week will be resistance and not support for Bitcoin for most of 26, because we haven't hit the 200-week, and that process needs to happen. If you look at prediction 3, is basically that we're not going to see a Bitcoin all-time high until late 26 or early 27, right? Which is in line with like Benjamin Cohen's analysis. That requires us to go down to the 200-week, right? So in that case, you can see the fractal here that I drew out. It's based on the 21 drop. There might be something approximate to that, right? Where we have more left to go in the fall, and then we break this 200-week and we bottom up. Prediction number 4 is that ETH will test all-time high in Q1. This is based on the historical performance of Ethereum in Q1. So there may be like a little bit of a burst of interest in Ethereum and Ethereum dominance climbing a lot against Bitcoin, just based on the typical performance, of Q1 for Ethereum. As you can see, like it's been very good over time. There's some big numbers in there which are skewing it, but it's still a heavily positive quarter. So I think that Ethereum might get up there and get people's hopes up again before things maybe stabilize or fall down a little bit. This was the point I just made, which is effectively 70% is all we need to like kind of touch against all-time high, which is not a lot given past performance of Q1. Then I talked about the AI and how that's going to be coming through and taking a lot of jobs. This is software engineering jobs, and the demand is collapsing. And this we're going to see in a lot of different industries, I suspect. Prediction 6, really quick, was that basically Titanx will continue to bleed. So continue to bleed against Ethereum and reach probably something of a capitulative bottom after the triple eight. So I would kind of either expect that if you're holding, or sell now because it's probably going to go lower. I don't see a compelling reason why I wouldn't. And then of course, basically a spike around the 88, and then a decline after that. That's what I'm kind of trying to mark here on the chart. So, and then the final one is you could be made, redundant in the next 12 months. It's a long time for AI. AI is progressing very fast. And what that means is that there's going to be less demand for labor. So many of you will be forced into entrepreneurship, or you'll be strongly considering entrepreneurship by the end of 26. And that's what I'm trying to provide for you is a bridge and a way to bridge that gap, to be more independent, to have more time, freedom, location freedom, and passive income for yourself. And I think that's something that you should all want. It's something that I certainly want for myself and for everyone inside the mastermind. So that's 30 minutes. Keep it kind of short today. The Caboose says cheers. Cheers. Merry Christmas. Can't believe it's been a year, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy that Titanx has gone down 93% in this year. That's wild. I don't think anybody thought that it would happen like this. But here we are. Hey, Michelle. Michelle is in my mastermind. She says, only way moving forward is if you have cash flow. And how many cash flow do you have? Best mastermind ever. Thanks. Appreciate it. That means a lot. Cool. I mean, I guess that's it. Let's see how many people are viewing. Got 16 people watching. How much for mastermind? Mastermind right now is 3,500 to be part of it. And then message me and we can talk about it. I do allow people to put down deposits and they can join earlier because I want to get people into the. I want to get people into it, so I'm basically like taking a deposit and then people can put the rest towards a passive income source so that they're immediately making money. What about DX? Well, I think it's probably going to go up against Titanx. I think it's basically guaranteed that it's going to go up against Titanx. DX will take over the staking pool, no doubt. It's probably going to take up 70-80% of that, more than 70%. Could be 85%, 90%. Yeah, it's kind of inevitable, I guess. And I think it's going to continue to rise against Titanx, and it will probably probably do pretty good in terms of overall price performance. Let me pull up the chart right now. Like relative to other Titan X projects. I don't think there's a reason to be in many other Titan X projects at this point, until they can kind of prove their worth. So if I can share charts here. That's one of the things I was posting about is I'm kind of at a loss, like for subscreen. Like I'm a very competitive person. So I don't if I don't have someone to compete against in Titan X, it's kind of demoralizing. Like I don't see any projects that like really challenge Dragon X at this point. This is a Dragon X chart. Like it's going down with Titan X. But the DX to TX ratio is very good. Let's see what it is here. It's at 10. So this is like the historical average. It's like 10x over Titan X. So basically, everyone who put their money into Titan X, like if you put 10K of Titan X into Dragon X, you can now buy back what was 100K of Titan X at the time. I think I'm doing the math right there, which is ridiculous. It's really good preservation, I'd say. So you definitely did very well if you stuck with Dragon X. I don't know why people aren't swapping more to Dragon X. I think it's just apathy. Like there's not a lot of activity. But I think also a lot of people got basically duped into like this narrative of Titan. Don't forget, like Titan X is the king or Titan X is the primary. I don't really believe that, like because Dragon X is so tightly bonded to Titan X that they're both basically proxies for the same. They're very tightly bonded to the point where they're like the same protocol almost. So this is kind of like a lie that a lot of people were telling you. It's like, oh, just stick to the base token. Don't worry about Dragon X. That was a huge loss for people to believe those people. Because you could just like swap back now, right? You could swap back now at 10 to 1. Like, and this 10 to 1 ratio is not something that's been it's not something that's like not been around. It's been 10 to 1 for a long time. So you've had a long time to like take profit back into Titan X if you wanted it, So I just feel like there was a lot of bad advice given to people in the beginning of kind of Dragon X. A lot of fake influencers and not great people who were basically saying like, don't stick to just stick to Titan X and don't worry about Dragon X or anything like that. That's unfortunate because it hurt Dragon X and it hurt Titan X by doing that. Because Dragon X got less of the staking payout, so it's less by Titan X, and fewer people basically preserved their capital over the course of like the existence of Titan X. How much for the mastermind? What do you cover for us to live? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but the mastermind inside we have a lot of things in the mastermind. It's not just so we have the passive income. We have Amazon FBA, we have Etsy, we have crypto, we have AI, and social media. And I'm going to add TikTok Shop. But that's not like everything we do. We're also a business network. So we're starting businesses. We're looking at the crypto markets. We're looking at macro. So it's generally like a make money group, pretty much. People are making connections. They're doing business together. So there's a lot of different ways you can make money from the group. Predictions for ProveX. I think for ProveX, the people that are mentioning like what is ProveX going to be bonded with, I think that's going to be very interesting to see. That's probably like that's going to determine how bullish it is, I would say. I mean, the logical thing to do would be to bond it with Pulse Chain. Just because all the other tokens are bonded with Pulse Chain on PLS. But if he bonds it with Hex, That's very bullish, I would say, because its liquidity is very low. So it could kind of like signal that he's going to pump Hex really hard and in the process pump ProveX, because of the botted liquidity. So like all the money he gets, he's able to like pump everything at once because of the botted liquidity. So if you can drag up Hex, he can pump Hex by buying PLS first, and then buying Hex, and then it's all getting pumped together. Question is, what pumps the hardest? I would say probably PulseX out of everything. PulseX or maybe ProveX is going to pump the hardest. ProveX because he wants to kind of prove to people that he can, like, that this wasn't a flop of a launch, right? And he'd probably rather have people FOMO in to ProveX rather than them dumping it from like whale positions. Overall, it's a really unimpressive protocol that didn't require another token at all. But what it does give Richard is like a very light token that he can pump very high. And that will basically reignite interest in his chain. And I think that's the argument he's making, is like, I need a new shiny for the next bull market. But like, he's way too early for the next bull market. And Hex is already quite light, I would say. Like, there are some sellers, but it's light. The liquidity is very low. Like, he could easily put it 100x up, So I don't know if that's really a good justification for a new token. The thing is, like, I don't know if anybody would be interested at all for something like ProveX if he didn't have the token, right? That's another point that he made, is like, tokens create stickiness where there otherwise wouldn't be any around a product. So because you develop that economic incentive to like participate in the project and like see its success and talk about it. And so, I mean, those are the primary reasons why Richard is justifying this, like economic stickiness and a light token and a new narrative for Pulse Chain. Right. And those are good justifications. And the way he sees it now is it's like an ecosystem. But I think the fundamental flaw was like, why didn't you just do more with Hex, and then the price of Hex would be a lot higher, and then you could launch things on top of Hex as the gas chain. And then the argument to that would be, well, that would require a lot of new code, and new code is risky, and you don't want to risk billions of dollars, right? So it all kind of evens out in the end, but I think the result is like kind of an ecosystem that's not offering a lot that's not already present in other ecosystems with better price performance like BNB. So like the technical justifications and maybe some of the marketing justifications are sound, but it's not going to change the fundamental reality of Pulse Chain, which is like, there's not a lot of activity or interest in the chain, and there's not a lot of chance for new users to join, at least not at this stage. This is the year. Here we go again. Yeah, we'll see. 26 is probably not going to be the year. Like, don't get your hopes up for 26. I think 27 will be the year. I mean, it is an election year, so like end of 27, 26 could be good. End of 26, you could see a lot of the things that we've been talking about for the past, since like July. I remember I was messaging in July why I think Ethereum's going to 20,000 or 30,000. And all those justifications will eventually bear fruit. It's a question of when. And late 26 might be the time when some of those predictions actually start to make sense, because ultimately we were just way too early. ETA on TikTok shops. I'm talking to some guys now about TikTok shop, some guys who have run TikTok shops and made a lot of money. So the mastermind, as soon as I get those guys interviewed and bring them into the mastermind, then you guys can start basically working with them to build TikTok shops. TikTok shops can make a lot of money. So, did you miss the beginning of the presentation, Serchu? Because I mentioned that I think that Titanx will not bottom until late 26. And I think the 888 will probably, post 888, you'll probably see the heaviest selling of Titanx, and we'll go into an all-time low. Like after that, like within a reasonable time after that. Because then there's a whole group of people who their only incentive for paying attention to Titanx was to get that ETH, and they're going to be gone. Why don't I remove the bond with Titanx? Well, I don't see the need right now. Like, let's see how things progress. Okay. We need to see the market turn in a way that would actually say, okay, Jake's not coming back. Like right now, Jake coming back is not going to do anything for the protocol. And if he launches a protocol now, like it's not going to do well. So I don't see a reason to do it right now. If it's like the raging bull market and Jake still hasn't come back and the ETH is not being used, okay, maybe then, you know, we can make that decision. But I don't know if it's the right choice right now. You know, it could be possible that there'll be enough new and interesting builds coming to Titanx that like it can happen without Jake. I'm going to be announcing a new build for Titanx and DragonX shortly. It's like my own take on basically the invention of Rembrandt, who, you know, it's our take basically on like an X20 like protocol, but without a new token that just leverages arbitrage on DragonX and Titanx in a clever way that will bring more Ethereum in. So with a couple of protocols that bring new ETH in and are sustainable, Titanx can completely turn around. And I think if Jake is watching, he's probably well aware of that. Question is, what is the right time? Probably later this year, later 26. So later to the end of another year from now. There's nothing more we could do between now and then. That's why in the mastermind we're focused on building up income sources. Is there any ETH left for Titanx? I'm not sure what that means. Of course, there's so much ETH with Titanx. It's like a huge amount. Right now, like the protocol it's solvent in the sense that like there's more ETH than the entire market cap. So it's pretty inefficiently traded right now. That's the other thing, like you're not going to get inefficient trading if Jake is back. You know, like you need to have inefficient trading. You need to have Jake gone. Otherwise, people will price that ETH in. I shouldn't even be saying this is such good alpha, but if there isn't an uncertainty around Jake being present, then there won't be an uncertainty as to whether the buying burden is used, and the price of Titanx may not drop lower than the Ethereum. But now it is lower than the Ethereum because people are wondering if Jake is just completely left. So the game theory around this is pretty interesting. So please don't watch this stream because you're getting some alpha. Ultimately, yeah, if I was Jake, I would probably be doing the same thing at this point. And maybe he's just ghosted. Maybe he's just like tired of this. Also a possibility. But the game theory, it still makes sense from a strategy perspective to act the way he's acting. So I'm not discounting him yet. Although it is annoying that I can't get a hold of the guy. No, Mastermind is annual. But I think it's very easy to make 3K of value in the group because basically our team is building you passive income sources. I'm going to be moving more toward our team just straight up building you passive income sources. So I guess we can actually go to that like right now. So this is my landing page, my fancy landing page. It's not that fancy, but you know, basically it's me talking about the product. And if you want to learn more about how we're making money inside the group, you can download this ebook. It's just basically a presentation describing it. And then, you know, below this is just how I'm making money for people inside. We have a team that does Amazon FBA. We have a bunch of guys inside the mastermind that are already doing it. These are real people. Etsy stores, we're scaling these. There's a bunch of people that are really doing it. I have my own Etsy stores with the team. You can click on the Telegram and see this is real people. Crypto passive income, same thing. Social media marketing, same thing. So the idea is basically, you know, inside this group, we have a bunch of different ways for you to make passive income, ranging from active to passive. And we're going to kind of do most of it for you. Like there's a few things you need to do, but for the most part, it's totally up to you how much you want to participate. The rest will be handled by my team. And there's obviously all the crypto stuff too, because I'm a crypto founder and all the Titanx founders are in there except for like Jake. So you're going to get the alpha on the alts. Pretty easy to get that ROI, man. Feel free to DM me. We can talk more details. Like I said, I've been doing deposits. Like some people are putting up half and they're going into Etsy with the other half. It's fine with me. I'm trying not to push people too hard, because the markets are down. So let's see. Will I launch a new protocol? It's a distinct possibility. If the market is right at the end of 26, yeah, I could do that. It's just the market has to be right for it. Like right now, I'm getting how many on this stream? There's 20 on YouTube, and there's like 100 on X. So like this is 10 times less than what I was getting in 24. So I can't launch a protocol on this traffic, so I'll just bide my time, and as things improve, then yeah, I could launch another protocol. I'd like to launch something. It's just, I don't think I'm going to launch another token ever. Like I think I've just come to the realization that like the world doesn't need another token. I already have a token that's backed by 1700 Ethereum, which is a very rare thing to have. And I'd rather just make sure that that does really well. I don't think my fate is to be like a Richard Hart guy who's just like doing all these ridiculous sacrifices for like pretty average software. And so that's not how I want to provide value. I would rather provide value by helping people make money and change their lives with entrepreneurship and building businesses. That to me feels more wholesome and feels more real. And with Dragon X, like we can continue to build on it and ensure the success of a single protocol more than we can if we're launching one IC after another. Right? There are ways of doing a token or doing a launch that don't require another token too. It's just you just to be a little more creative with it. What do I think Bitcoin and Ethereum do of 2026 Q1 to Q3? So let me share this again. So going back to this is what I think it's going to do. Ethereum will do in Q1, Q2, and Q3. I think we're going to have a good Q1, a good Q2, and a bad Q3. And you might be saying, well, that's very formulaic. Well, yeah. The people who have been formulaic have been correct on crypto. So it's not how I generally operate or think, but I just had to adjust my thinking because whenever I haven't respected the flow of crypto, like in the cycle, then I've been wrong. So my suspicion would be that historical data will continue to be somewhat reliable, and that Q1 and Q2 will be good for Ethereum. Yeah. Bitcoin, I think it might take longer than that. Q3, Q4 will be good for Bitcoin. But you have to look at historical data. Well, actually, we got a lot of good questions tonight. I'm very happy that we managed to fill an hour, which is good. So thank you, guys. Thanks for participating. I really appreciate it. Let me go to X and see if there's anyone who messaged me on X. Darko says, please block me on YouTube, but I don't know how to do that. Sorry, man. Like maybe just ask questions on or create a new YouTube. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're very welcome, and thank you very much for the excellent questions. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, does anyone have any last questions? I really hope you guys have a good holiday. Maybe this is the time to just log out. Don't think about crypto. Don't chase the dopamine for a while. Spend time with family. Have a dopamine detox. Don't stare at charts. It's such a waste of time. I've noticed that my attention span is getting worse because I'm spending so much time jumping between social apps. I want to do a reset in 26. Hi, Sajid. Will you turn on ETH buy Titanix to increase your ETH payouts? What do you think? Yeah, for me, I'm going to continue to support Dragon X, and like I was saying before, like it would be nice to have some competition or something. Can anyone mention a Titan X token that's done like anywhere near as good as Dragon X? I guess ORX did good for a while, but in terms of price performance, like I think Dragon X is king. So we have the title belt right now, and it's a little bit demotivating, like because there's not much to do right now, right? Like I like the activity, and I like the building, and I like to compete with the other protocols, and I like to see the action and the volume and people playing the game of crypto. Like I don't like the haters, but the haters come with it. But at least there was some action happening. For me, I'm the kind of person where like I'm either going after something and I'm attacking, or I'm just like, what is the point, you know? And I do recognize that an important element to success is the mid game. You know, I think that's what a lot of people fail at, right? They have bursts of energy and then they're done. But for me, you know, I'm also fine at the mid game. Like I'm still here. I'm one of the only founders who's still left. You know, I was the first Titanix founder, and I'm one of the last Titanix founders. So I think I got the mid game down pretty good too. But now it is getting like, well, I don't really want to launch a new token because I don't want to incentivize degenerate behavior, you know, when you should be buying Dragon X. This is something you see a lot in crypto is some guy launches a token, it has low liquidity, and he's shilling the chart and it's all green up, you know? And you're like buying into it like, oh, this guy's been vindicated, he's so right. But like, as soon as that chart gets to the top, it's going to collapse again, you know? And it's going to be over. 99% of crypto is like one single upward movement and then it's over. And so if you look at the Dragon X chart, it actually looks like a living token that's going through a bear market. And that's a significant and important difference for those of you that can't recognize the difference between an altcoin that is a pump and dump effectively, which is what 90% of cryptos are, and an altcoin that is actually going through this real, it has some real community, and it has real value underneath it, the Ethereum, and it has a present founder, and it's holding value. That's actually quite rare. So just appreciate that, you know. I think that's one good thing that we have going for us. The project's not dead, you know, and that's actually because that which does not die will eventually grow and live again, you know. So not dying is rule number one, right? Because you can renew. Especially talking in the mastermind about this, we went pretty deep on how to renew yourself and how to rebuild yourself. I don't think it's good to get used to losing, but there are times when you need to reinvent yourself and where you need to go through stages of being down. And managing that is not easy. It's a psychological game. But it's something that if you can't manage it, you know, a lot of people, they don't make it. You know, they give up or they off themselves or whatever, right? And so having the mental resilience to go through that and recognize that you can rebirth yourself multiple times in your life, and that good people will find ways. They'll find ways to succeed. They'll find ways to persist and make things work. Richard Hart actually had a fantastic quote, which was, "The criers cried, the sellers sold, and the indomitable kept working." Right? That was what he said about the bear market. Like, people revert to their mean, their average, their standard, which is like when things go bad, you see people reverting back to what they can handle. So, and that's exactly what we saw with Titan-X. That's what we see with Pulse Chain. It's like all the cry kids, they cried and left. All the sellers, they sold and left. The holders held, and the indomitable continued to just work, right? So try to be indomitable, and I'm trying to give you avenues to do something with your life while crypto is down in the mastermind. And I know I find it to be so strange that people think this is like some kind of scam group. And that's actually a really strong reflection of those people and what their mentality is, that there's nothing real, right? It's a cynical mentality, which is like, crypto's not real. It's all bullshit. It's all fake money games. And like, so your thing's not real. Well, it's like, that's just a massive projection of your own insecurities, because crypto is real. Like BlackRock is buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Titan-X and Dragon-X are backed by Ethereum. So by proxy, Titan-X is something that is basically based on something that is being valued and bought by banks. So the perception that everything is bullshit, and that cynical perception that everything's bullshit, a Ponzi and fake, is a bit of a tired perception. But I see it a lot in crypto. I don't do fake things and I don't do bullshit things. And that's why I'm not launching another token. I'm focusing on Dragon-X. The other thing is, the mastermind is something that will probably benefit 90% of you. And I recognize only 1% of you will ever be in it, and that's fine. In fact, I plan to cap the group at 300. But it is unfortunate that the mentality of a lot of people in crypto is just like, I suspect they have not found a lot of success in other areas of their life, and so they don't recognize that not everything is bullshit and going to fuck you over. I shouldn't say that, because now I'm going to have even less reach on YouTube. Sometimes you run into a person who's just trying to build things and is just trying to add value. And if you're not used to experiencing that, then you might, have the wrong pattern match. That would be unfortunate for you. Does anyone have any other questions? Oh, thanks for reposting the stream, Dom. That was nice. That's a nice feature that shows that. Can you guys repost my stream? I'd much appreciate it. That's great. We have 108 people. I'm enjoying this now. Let's hang out longer. I think it would be a good idea to buy Titan-X and stake for 888 days payout to increase ETH to burn Dragon-X. So what we realized is that basically, while it's profitable for a new user to come in and stake Titan-X, it's not profitable right now for Dragon-X to buy and stake. Because effectively, we already have a huge portion of the staking pool. And so because of that, it makes it less economically viable for Dragon-X to come in and stake more, buy and stake more. So you actually on net wouldn't necessarily be increasing the amount of Ethereum that Dragon-X has post AAA. Does that make sense? So you need to calculate that out, because we're not the same as a new entrant. So that calculator on Titan-X is not actually accurate for us. And so we actually checked it, and it's not accurate. So keep that in mind. Guys, I'm loving this. It's Christmas Eve, and there's 130 people on the stream. That's fantastic. I'm very glad. That means that there was some people hanging out who needed something to do. So I hope that I'm providing some value to you here. And Merry Christmas to all you guys. Yeah, if you didn't watch the earlier part of the stream, go back. I gave some predictions for how I think things will play out for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Dragon-X and Titan-X. And now we're just kind of hanging out and talking about the market and about Titan-X specifically. Thank you for reposting the stream. Can you guys all repost the stream? See if we can get 200 people on here. Actually, a pretty significant stream, like Christmas stream. We're having pretty good uptake right now. Not pretty good, very good. Only legends. And Merry Christmas, guys. So yeah, one thing that I mentioned in the slide, some of you might not have been watching that part, but like the goal of my group is to help you guys in 26 like do more, because your default shouldn't be waiting around. It should be to take action on your goals, right? And so what I'm trying to facilitate with the mastermind is exactly that, a platform for you to achieve your goals in money specifically, right? Investing and starting businesses and getting passive income. And so that's my contribution to you in 2026 is, hey, look, I have this group. We don't know how crypto is going to do, right? But I have this group where you can earn money, you can make passive income. We're going to set it up for you. We're going to run it for you, okay, with minimal cost, and you're going to make $2, $3, $4, hopefully $5,000 per month off this. And that's what I can provide you right now. And I think that it's going to be a lot higher ROI than just DCAing into crypto, which you definitely don't want to do right now, by the way. Just hold cash. And it could provide some long-term benefits to take you out of speculation. So, yeah, I'm trying to help you guys. I'm trying to think of what else we can cover now, because we've got so many people on here. I want to make sure that I'm covering something. Do you guys have any questions? All right, I guess not. Oh, what's up, man? Thanks for all the passive income opportunities. Yeah, sure. Another mastermind member. Merry Christmas, man. Yeah, so basically, Germzilla is talking about all these opportunities over here. Show my stuff again. So basically, you can watch this video. I explain a little bit more. This is what's going on inside. You can download this book, guys. If you want, you can book a call here, and you could basically like pick a time and we could just chat about it a little bit more. But all the information is inside this booklet. As I just said, I'm adding TikTok Shop to the group, so it'll be another way for you guys to make money. Merry Christmas. And so we'll have Amazon, Etsy, crypto passive income, social media marketing, and Etsy. And TikTok Shop. So yeah, it should be good. My personal goal with this is to make like 10K a month. I'm just going to keep buying Etsy stores and other passive income until I'm at like 10K per month passive income. I think it's a good level. So what else can I cover? No, I think that's it, guys. That's all I've got for you. If hydro mining will start, it will lock Titan X supply. It locks Dragon X supply. So I think with Hydra, it's mine with Titan X. Titan X gets put into Dragon X, and it gets used to buy and hold Dragon X into the Hydra mine burn. So it's locking both, actually. So it's a pretty powerful vehicle for doing that. Myron Golden teaches that having 5K a month in passive income, you're a virtual millionaire. It's a very good point, because ultimately cash flow is what matters, right? It's not about how much you have in the bank. Because if you have 100 million or you have $1 million and you're earning 1%, that's 10K a year. It's not a lot, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like having the passive income it's like having the passive income of a millionaire, but you invest $1,700 to start the Etsy store. So you see the power of that? So rather than you would need to sell $1 million of coins and put it into a conservative investment to have the same return as joining the mastermind and starting a $1,700 Etsy store, and then growing it with my team to 5K. Do you guys recognize the power of that? That's actually amazingly good, Michelle. Thank you for putting it that way, because it really puts the value I'm trying to provide into such a good way of understanding it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Basically, you would need $1 million. You need to make $1 million in crypto to make as much as I'm gonna make members for passive income in the mastermind. The amount of passive income you would make off $1 million is going to be comparable to what members are going to be making without $1 million, with a few thousand in investment, because we're running these passive income operations for them. So effectively, you're like a passive income millionaire in a way. You could think of it that way. I like that. I really like that framing. That's a genius framing. You're awesome, Michelle. Thank you for that. I need to. I'm too much of a builder and not enough of a marketer. You know, this is a big problem for me. Like because there's huge value. For example, inside the mastermind, I'm working on a big deal with a big company that has billions of dollars in revenue, and that came through the mastermind. And that's value that should be communicated in a succinct way that people can understand. So I'm glad that mastermind members are understanding and able to vocalize that in such a way. So it's very, very helpful. Yeah, man, dude, you should message me. Let's talk about what you've done on Etsy. I would like to talk to you actually. So yeah, it's very easy e-commerce. I mean, as long as you have a professional team running it and you're optimizing it and you're not, violating copyrights or breaking the law, it's straightforward because there's a search feature. Because there's search in Etsy, it basically means if you do a good job, the algorithm will surface your products. Whereas if you're on Shopify, you don't have that option. Similar with FBA. FBA has a higher cost, so people who want to do FBA inside our group, they need a bit more money. They need about $10,000. But with Etsy, it's about $1,700 to get started. So, yeah, it's good. Yeah, and I get that not everyone has the funds right now. That's fine, brother. Like, just when you have it, just message me. Like, we're not going away. This isn't a short-term thing for me. I want this to be a very long-term group, a networking and business group that lasts many years. So, yeah. Cool. Well, that's been an hour, guys. It's cool that we got so many people on here. I'm really glad to see you guys before Christmas. Do we have any last comments here before I tie it up? Yes, I think that's the magic of Etsy, actually, is that they do have their own marketing engine. That is so powerful because it means that all we have to do is focus on building and optimizing your shop, and then Etsy will handle the rest. So you can just make money. Like, you don't need to wait for this massive crypto pump to make $1 million. You can just start making money today, And it's a new year. This is a new start for you guys. Like, and I want this mastermind to be a bridge for a lot of you to what you want to accomplish in the future. Yes, the ROI is insane and fast. And it's funny because people don't want to touch this stuff because it's not sexy, but it's very fast ROI. It's a really, really good platform. Like, they're doing a really good job. And so let's just make money now and worry about it later. I don't care about the optics. Like, I don't care that it sounds silly that we're doing like Etsy shops. Like, it's really profitable, and my job as the guy who runs the mastermind is like to make sure that my mastermind members are making money. I want them to make money. And so I'm willing to explore any passive income options: TikTok Shop, Etsy, Amazon, crypto, AI. And they're very scalable. I mean, you need a team. You do need a team. Our Etsy team is like, I think it's like 3 people going up to like 5 pretty soon. A combination of like dedicated, people and VAs. So it's not like, I think it's best to do it with a team because then they're there all the time. They're monitoring it. But one of the artifacts that we're going to take out of that is we're going to have a do-it-yourself course that everyone in the mastermind can access. So if you don't want to spend the $1,700, you can just join the mastermind and do it yourself. And then when you have the money, you can do it with my team. So we're going to also have that part of it. It is quite scalable. Man, this is a great live stream. I really enjoyed this. We got some good views. So right now, don't worry about crypto. Like, inside the group, at least, we're going to handle crypto. It's going to be handled when the time is right, But I wouldn't be buying into crypto at this stage. Just wait. For Etsy, it's a physical product, not a digital product. It's physical products. But really, for Archie, oh, you did a digital product on Etsy. That's interesting. I haven't seen that before. What was your product? Message me, man. Message me on Telegram. I'm interested. Print on demand. Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't even considered digital products for Etsy, but maybe that is an angle that I've been missing. So. Okay, guys, that's an hour. It's great talking with you guys. I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. Merry Christmas. Hang in there.
なんとなく生きてんじゃないですか。迷ってんじゃないですか。生き生きさい。簡単ですよ。過去のことを思っちゃダメだよ。なんであんなことしたんだろうって怒りに変わってくるから。未来のことも思っちゃダメ。大丈夫かな。不安になってくるでしょ。ならば一生懸命一つのところに命をかける。そうだ。今ここを生きていけばみんな生き生きするぞ。